Đây là bản viết lại nội dung từ nguồn tin bạn cung cấp bằng tiếng Anh. Tuân thủ các yêu cầu về định dạng, dầu câu và ngắt dòng. 5 câu xuống dòng một lần. It is January 2026 in the White House Rose Garden at precisely 1100 a.m., where the weather is sunny and cold at 38 degrees, creating a perfect setting for the upcoming events. The sky is clear and the air is crisp, typical of a Washington January day that makes everything appear sharp, focused, and real. There are no clouds or haze, only a sense of clarity. President Donald Trump stands at the podium, with the presidential seal shining gold in the winter sunlight. He is wearing a perfectly tailored blue suit, likely a Brioni, and a red power tie that signals he is in charge. An American flag pin sits slightly crooked on his lapel, but he is indifferent to such details as he is too busy winning. He wears a confident smile, the kind that suggests he knows something you do not, which has terrified his opponents for 50 years in business and politics. Behind him stands the West Wing, with its white columns and classical architecture, symbolizing American power, presidential authority, and the most powerful office on Earth. Cameras are positioned everywhere, dozens of them, which is more than usual as every major network is represented. CNN has sent 3 full crews including anchors, producers, and technical staff. Fox News has 5 teams present because they knew this event would be significant. MSNBC has sent their entire White House team, and even Al Jazeera is here alongside the BBC, Reuters, Associated Press, and agents France Press. This is worldwide breaking news, as all White House correspondents received the alert 90 minutes ago via a short message on official letterhead. The message announced a major press conference at 11 a.m. regarding Operation Clean Plate and a federal fraud investigation, noting that Representative Ilhan Omar would attend as the Minnesota representative. That last line caught everyone's attention, as Omar attending a Trump press conference voluntarily implies something big is happening. Representative Ilhan Omar stands off to the side on stage left, about 15 feet from Trump's podium, close enough to be filmed, heard, and humiliated. She is the Democrat from Minnesota's 5th District, a squad member, a progressive icon, a democratic socialist, the first Somali American elected to Congress, and the first Muslim woman to wear a hijab in the House. Today, she wears a navy blue hijab and a professional, somber, dark pantsuit, trying to look confident and strong, but failing. Her hands are clasped in front of her a little too tightly, making her knuckles appear slightly white. She was invited here as Minnesota's representative for a press conference about federal fraud, which is what her office was told. She expects a bipartisan show of concern about fraud, a photo opportunity, and a standard White House event. She plans to stand beside Trump looking concerned, give a statement defending her community, push back against his attacks, call for due process, and get good clips for social media. CNN will love it. MSNBC will call her brave. The squad will rally around her, and AOC will tweet support, creating perfect optics. She has absolutely no idea what is about to happen. The press corps is seated in neat rows, with over 80 reporters, including big names from major networks, newspapers, and blogs. Notepads are out. Digital recorders and smartphones are ready, and cameras have red lights glowing as this goes out live to millions on every platform. Trump steps to the microphone and adjusts it down slightly, for at 6'3" the microphone is always too high. He uses that familiar showman's pause, having done this thousands of times at rallies, press conferences, and debates. He knows how to work a camera to build suspense, letting anticipation grow and allowing the audience to wonder what he will say. "Thank you all for being here today," he says, his voice carrying strong and clear with that unmistakable New York accent. It is a beautiful day, really beautiful, cold but beautiful, and I love days like this because they are clear and you can see for miles, he remarks. Clarity is what today is about. Clarity, truth, and facts, he states while looking around and making eye contact with reporters he knows by name and bias. Being a master showman, he nods at the Fox News team with a slight smile which they return, but when he looks at CNN, his smile disappears, causing them to look down. We are here to announce Operation Clean Plate, a major federal investigation involving the FBI, IRS, Treasury, and Justice Department working together, he announces. This is the biggest investigation in American history into welfare, child nutrition, and pandemic fraud happening right now in Minnesota, he adds. $1 billion, that is billion with a B, maybe more, has been stolen, though my investigators think it could be as high as $2 billion, he reveals. It was stolen from American children, from hungry kids who needed food, from taxpayers, and from hard-working Americans like you and your family, he asserts. He pauses to let that number sink in, emphasizing that $1 billion is 1,000 million. The cameras zoom in on his serious presidential face, showing this is not a rally, but a commander-in-chief moment. I have invited Congresswoman Ilhan Omar here today, he says, gesturing to her, and she manages a tight, forced, and uncomfortable smile. The cameras immediately pan to her and zoom in with high-definition lenses, capturing every micro-expression. She represents Minnesota's 5th district where most of this fraud occurred, where criminals set up fake sites and shell companies to claim they fed non-existent children. Hundreds of millions disappeared while criminals bought mansions, luxury cars, and jewelry, and traveled to Dubai on taxpayer money. Trump's voice hardens as he notes she sponsored the Meals Act of 2020, the legislation that enabled this fraud and made it easy. Her bill weakened oversight on federal child nutrition programs, reduced audits, and removed safeguards, he declares. Omar's smile completely disappears and falters for a second, a moment caught by every camera angle. Her lawyer, standing behind her, tenses up, as this was not the plan discussed with the White House Chief of Staff 3 days ago. It was supposed to be a standard announcement with statements from both sides, but this is something else entirely. So I thought, Trump continues casually, that before the official announcement and her prepared statement, I should ask her some questions. These are presidential questions that need answers, questions the American people deserve, and questions the media has refused to ask, he states. He looks directly at the press corps, specifically at CNN's correspondent, calling out their bias and refusal to ask hard questions on live television. Omar's face is now neutral as she tries to hide her fear, but her white knuckles show her tension. Her lawyer signals her not to engage, but it is too late as she is already on camera in the Rose Garden. Congresswoman Omar, thank you for being here and showing up, which is very brave, and I respect that, Trump says warmly. You could have stayed in your office or sent an aide, but you came. So let us have a real conversation, he proposes. Let's talk about your Meals Act, the fraud it enabled, the missing $1 billion, your imprisoned campaign official, and your mysterious millions, he lists. These are important things that are all documented and proven, he says, reaching under the podium to pull out a very thick folder. The folder is organized with 6 colored tabs representing 6 scandals, the kind of folder trial lawyers use to destroy someone on cross-examination. CNN's correspondent whispers to her producer asking if this is real, and the producer confirms they cannot cut away from the president. Just so we are clear, I am the president and you are a guest at the people's house, Trump asserts, tapping the folder for emphasis. I will ask important questions which you will answer honestly under the eyes of the American people, and then you can make your statement, he explains. You will have a full and fair chance to defend yourself, because I am a very fair person, he adds. Omar tries to speak to establish ground rules, but Trump holds up his hand with absolute presidential authority. Not yet, Congresswoman, for protocol dictates the president asks questions first. He insists. First question. Did you know when you passed the Meals Act of 2020 that it would enable the largest fraud in American history, yes or no? He asks. The Rose Garden erupts with shock and whispered reactions because the president is interrogating a sitting member of Congress on live television. The CNN correspondent audibly says, "Oh my God," while the Fox News team barely contains their excitement. MSNBC looks stricken as their progressive icon is publicly executed on camera with nowhere to hide. This is not a press conference, but an ambush, and the world is watching, unable to intervene. Omar's jaw clenches as she tries to control her anger and panic. Mr. President, the fraud was committed by criminals who exploited a program designed with good intentions, she answers with a controlled voice. Stop right there, because that is not a yes or no answer. It is a deflection, Trump interrupts firmly. I asked if you knew your bill would be used by criminals to steal $1 billion. Yes or no, he reiterates. I cannot be held personally responsible for how criminals choose to exploit, she tries again, but Trump cuts her off, saying that counts as a no. So you did not know your bill was badly written and removed oversight, which means you are either incompetent or lying, he concludes. My investigators will find the truth, he says, flipping to the blue tab in the folder, which contains devastating evidence. Next question concerns your campaign official and friend, Gwad Hashisai, who worked on your campaigns and attended events with you, he reads. He has been convicted in federal court of $3.2 million in fraud using a fake food site and claiming to feed children who did not exist, Trump reveals. He stole federal taxpayer money and spent it on luxury goods and is now in federal prison, he adds, looking directly at Omar. Did you know your campaign official and friend was stealing from children, yes or no? He demands. The cameras zoom in tight on Omar's face as her color drains from healthy brown to ash gray in real time. She realizes this is not just about the Meals Act, but about her personal crimes and corruption. Mr. President, I think we should follow proper procedure, she says, her voice shaking. I absolutely agree, which is why we are here making history with millions watching, Trump interrupts cheerfully. Answer the question. Did you know your campaign official was stealing millions? Yes or no? He presses again. There is complete silence for 20 seconds, broken only by the clicking of cameras, as the press corps watches this painful spectacle. She cannot answer because yes means she is complicit and no means she is incompetent. We will put a pin in that, Trump says casually, but my investigators have found interesting things about your money and how you became a multimillionaire. He spreads the folder open, revealing hundreds of pages, and announces they will go through 6 major scandals systematically. After America sees all the evidence, they can decide if you are a victim or a corrupt politician, he declares. Omar looks at her lawyer in panic, but he shakes his head knowing there is nothing to be done. Let me start with the numbers, because numbers do not lie while politicians do, Trump says, shifting to a prosecutor's tone. Your bill, the Meals Act, removed verification requirements and background checks, saying, "We will trust you to anyone claiming to feed kids," he explains. He holds up a chart showing that a nonprofit in her district claimed to feed millions of meals, resulting in $250 million stolen so far. They used fake addresses and empty lots to steal money meant for hungry children, he states with controlled anger. He holds up a photo of the safari restaurant in her district, whose co-owner was convicted of $70 million in fraud. He then shows a video still of Omar at that same restaurant in 2020, smiling and praising the program. Did you know when you were there praising them that the restaurant was part of a massive fraud scheme, yes or no? He asks. I was not aware of criminal activity, she replies, to which Trump responds that she is either lying or incompetent. He then pulls out a photo of her with Gwad Hashisai, her campaign official who stole $3.2 million while working for her. He claimed to feed 5,000 meals a day from a site that did not exist, stealing millions while working on your campaign, Trump points out. You returned his donations only after he was arrested, which means you kept his money for 99% of the time he was stealing, he calculates. You enabled fraud with bad legislation, celebrated it at fraud sites, and employed criminals, he summarizes, closing the first section. He then flips to the red tab to discuss her mysterious wealth. Are you a millionaire? Yes or no? He asks, noting her fatal hesitation. He holds up her 2023 disclosure, showing a net worth under $250,000, and her 2024 disclosure, showing a net worth between $6 million and $30 million. That increase in 1 year is either fraud or magic, he remarks, noting the numbers are public record. He details how a winery she listed went from being worth less than $50,000 to over $1 million in a year. He also reveals that her husband's firm, Rose Lake Capital, had $42 in its bank account in court filings, but was listed as worth up to $25 million on her disclosure. How does a company with $42 become worth $25 million unless you are hiding dirty money? He challenges. You went from broke to a multimillionaire in 1 year, while your husband's businesses miraculously increased in value, he concludes. He moves to the yellow tab to discuss how her campaign paid her husband's firm, E Street Group, nearly $3 million. You paid him millions while having an affair with him, as confirmed by his wife's divorce filings, he states, showing the documents. That looks like hush money or money laundering, not campaign services, he accuses. He then brings up her marriage to Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi, whose father shares her father's name, suggesting immigration fraud. You filed joint taxes with another man while legally married to Elmi, which is federal tax fraud, he asserts. He attacks her for calling herself Somali first in a speech, and for her anti-Israel rhetoric. Treasury is investigating if fraud money went to terrorists like al-Shabaab, which would be treason, he warns ominously. Following the press conference, the evidence is overwhelming, and even Democratic leadership abandons her. 2 weeks later, Omar announces she will not seek re-election. Her career effectively ended by the truth exposed in the Rose Garden.